Oh, I'm dumb as shit. Oh, I can turn off camera. Wait, did that work? Do I not have camera? Hold on, I gotta pull up my YouTube now on PC and see if I have camera. Oh, you are watching me? Are you or are you? Okay. Oh yeah, I see. So as you can tell, the fucking graphics in this game are amazing. But this, watch this, right? This is a whole ass map. And now it's a whole ass other map. Obviously there's gonna be like 10-second delay. And look at the time frame in between switching maps. Am I gonna crash the game or is it just gonna keep going? Who knows? I'm not gonna crash the game. This game's too fucking good to crash. Back to what I was saying about the whole reflections on your windows though. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. I can see myself in the mirror. I should probably click on the video so I can see where you're physically at. Oh, dude, you're not even that far behind. It's like a 3-second delay. Yeah, so how this game works is it's a little different. They've got like 2 main characters now, Ratchet and Rivet. So half the planets are Rivets and half the planets are Ratchets because they can't be at the same place at the same time. I mean, they can be, but it's, you know, when you're working to try to get a device before a Dr. Nefarious, you kind of want to do it faster than him, so you need 2 people for it. So 2 separate people in 2 separate places at the same time kind of works a little bit quicker. That was their excuse for it. The weapons transfer. So, like, when you have a gun, it transfers over to the other person. So if I'm playing as Rivet and I buy a weapon, when I switch to Ratchet, I'll still have that weapon. It's just the costume looks different. So basically, this whole thing is... Oh, shit. Hold on, I gotta... This whole thing's built around the idea that there's a bunch of different armor in this game, and they all have active effects. If they don't have active effects, it's usually because they are from the Deluxe Edition package when you pre-order the game, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These first, or the bottom 5, are pre-order. And then you got the ones that actually do shit, and there's a lot of them. I don't even think this is all of them. But they stay. It's not like these effects only happen when you're wearing the armor. If you look over to the right, it literally says that I have all those bonuses. I have 12 out of 25 gold bolts, and I've only played this game for... Oh, okay, actually, no. I forgot. I've been up for the last 10 hours. I've probably been playing Ratchet and Clank for 6 of those 10 hours. So it makes sense that I'm this far. But I got a lot of the weapons already, and I've already maxed out 4 of them. Like, or maybe it's 3. Yeah, it's only 3. But like I fully leveled them up and bought all their upgrades and shit. So they're like all the way there. Alright. Yeah, I do like the loading into the ship, that little pressing X and then you get into the ship. Because before, in Ratchet and Clank, like the old ones, when you walk up to your ship, you'd have to press triangle and then it'd go into a little cutscene of you getting into the ship, where you load up the ship and then it flies into space and then you're orbiting around the planet and you pick another planet. This way they could save on having to load shit in. This one, you're like, okay, you're on the planet, pick a planet, okay, you're going to that planet, go ahead, fly up, and cutscene, and you're there. It also depends. If I'm playing as Rivet, and then the next planet I choose is a Ratchet, they will purposely give a little cutscene like, huh, I wonder what Ratchet's doing. And then it'll go over to it. If I'm first going to a planet for the first time like I am right now, then obviously it'll also have the cutscene. Not to mention, look at fucking Clank right now.
Improvisation is a skill you learn very fast.
That man's shiny as fuck. It's in 4K, right?
I wait to see you in action.
When you're in. It should be 4K. I can stream in 4K, so if it's not streaming 4K, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I hope the fixer is as good as the Morts say he is.
Yes.
Like, that's literally the setting I have set. Okay, this is my first time being to this planet, so I'm gonna just stare at it for a couple seconds, get a layout. Basically, what I did with all the other planets is when I first landed there, I looked at what looks like playable surface and then what looks like background surface. But the fucked up part about this game is almost everything can be walked on. Like, they didn't shirk in playable surface. So, like in the old Ratchet and Clanks, if you wanted to look, you could tell what was real and what wasn't. This one, it's pretty fucking hard to differentiate. Also, in the old games, if you jumped, your camera would move up with you, and you could see more of the map. In this one, they're like, nah, dude, you don't get that shit. You jump, you're jumping. That's it. I do like they've done a lot of shit to this Ratchet and Clank. They've made it new, but old. They brought a bunch of the old shit back. There's still the Rhino. If you've ever played the other Ratchet and Clanks, then you know about the Rhino. They made a Rhino 8 for this game, because this is the 8th Ratchet and Clank, if you didn't know. All the fucking guns in this game are amazing. They each have their own like abilities, and the adaptive triggers for PS5 make the guns so fucking cool.
The bridge seems to be out of commission.
Bet it was a raid. Places like this usually have to fend for themselves.
I cannot hear you. I don't know why. Oh, because I turned down the fuck. I'm dumb as shit. I turned down my whole fucking PC instead of just turning down YouTube. Say something so I know if you're like low still. Yeah, I know, right? Okay, so there's obviously three different ways I can go. Dude, one of the coolest things they added in this game was if you hold R1, you can do hover boots, which was in the other games, some of the other games. I think 3 of them, but it was only for certain maps, and it was where the hover boots are required to traverse. In this game, they're like a whole access thing, because there is sprinting in this game. You can sprint, even though none of the other Ratchet and Clanks had sprinting. There's sprinting in this one, but then there's also the hover boots, which they implement pretty early on, like the second planet, both people get the hover boots, and they're able to use them. But if you spam L2 and R2, you skate, and then you go fucking full speed. Oh shit, I missed.
The bridge seems to be out of commission.
And yeah, they also gave me this weird glove that makes me wall run, which I didn't really like to begin with, because it just felt like I was playing Advanced Warfare. But at the same time, I think it's pretty fucking cool, because like Ratchet and Clank's never had a wall running mechanic, and they've never had like any traversal mechanics besides double jump. That was it. Double jump and wall jumping. Like, you could jump from a wall and then jump off of it onto the other wall. That was it. That's as far as it went traverse-wise. Now they're like, everything, motherfucker. You can do it all. One of the coolest things. I didn't even notice it until like halfway through playing this game. Whenever you break a box and it drops bolts, if you don't collect those bolts in other Ratchet and Clank games, those bolts would despawn after about 10 seconds. Because it takes a lot of RAM for the fucking bolts to just sit there and rotate on the ground in a game that was for PS3. Now, they sit there for fucking ever. You could leave the planet, come back, and they'll still be there.
Is the fixer on this planet?
Buy a PS5, it's only $500 to play this $80 game.
We were told that he can fix phase quartz.
What the fuck did you just watch? Please tell me you're watching this. This dude I'm talking to right now, he was like, yeah, I'm fine. And single, if anyone asks.
Perhaps we could fix him.
You two look like you could straighten him out in all about a minute. But that film was destroyed last pirate version, so you'll need a shot. Oh, and I saw one of the smell guns.
turtle shot that way, but I don't want to go that way.
So, after this, are you and Ratchet going to the Longbacks dimension?
It is possible, but Ratchet is uncertain. Perhaps he is afraid that
Afraid? Why afraid?
it is complicated.
Well, hey,
Have you? Okay, what was the last Ratchet and Clank you ever played?
A hurl shot's gonna get us across that chasm? It's huge!
Have you ever played Ratchet and Clank?
And I am not thrilled about the name either. But we must find one at the smelting pits.
Yeah, it doesn't really help that I'm wearing a fucking robot skin, so you can't really see what the character looks like. I wonder if I can... Yeah, I can. I can... So this is what Rivet looks like. Normally. She has a robotic arm, because I guess she lost it. They don't explain how. But she lost it. So she got it replaced with a robotic arm or whatever. Anyway, she's just a female Lombax. Lombax is the main race of the game. You don't ever see any other Lombax. That's the whole thing. Until the second game, actually. Holy shit. No, they brought in a Lombax right away. So, very first game, you hear that Ratchet's the lone Lombax or whatever. And he really is, basically, because the other Lombax that he, like, meets in 2 dies. You don't kill her, but she dies. And then the other Lombax you meet in, I think it's Kraken Time. There's a lot of them. It's either Kraken Time or it's a Kraken Time, because Quest for Booty was a whole side game. Yeah, no, the names are amazing. It goes Ratchet and Clank Going Commando, which, means no underwear. Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal, Ratchet and Clank Size Matters, Ratchet and Clank Future Tools of Destruction, Ratchet and Clank Quest for Booty, Ratchet and Clank Crack in Time, Ratchet and Clank All for One, and Ratchet and Clank Nexus, Into the Nexus, and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. So there's actually 10 now, but they only count 8 of them. Because 2 of them were side games. Into the Nexus is technically a side game. Or no. I'm dumb as fuck. All for One is a side game, even though it's got its own whole story, but it's like in its own weird thing because there's 4 players and Captain Quark, Ratchet, Clank, and Nefarious are all on a team. So it's kind of they don't really want to talk about it much, but I liked it. And then Quest for Booty is also a side game. Both of those games did not have the Rhino, and that's kind of the whole reason behind why they're not main games. Rhino, if you didn't know, is not just the name, it's an acronym. It means rip you a new one. And in all the games, to get the Rhino, you had to go through each map and find the blueprints for them. In this game, they're in form of infobots, but before it was either literally just a blueprint floating in the map that you just go pick up, or one of the dudes, I think the 4th game, you talk to this shady-looking motherfucker, and for like 100,000 bolts, you could buy it off of him. And I think they dropped it to half price once you beat the game or some shit like that. Basically, it's the most overpowered weapon in all of history. And it's purposely that, because it's like, if you spent the time to go to each planet and do the side task to get said blueprint, then you deserve the fucking weapon. Not to mention, that means you have to go to at least every planet in the game, which means you have to at least progress to the last mission. Yeah, I'm not working on the Rhino right now, though, because that's just too much work, and not to mention, I'm still like 2 planets away from having all 10 of the planets, because I think that's how many there are. There could only be 8. I don't know. I don't know how many planets I've been to. Oh, this map does not look big. I don't like it. I'm looking at this map right now, and it's pretty fucking small. But yeah, no, this is Rivet. She's the girl counterpart. The whole story about Lombaxes is pretty fucking weird. Basically, they're like the best things in all of history, and like mechanics. They're basically the best mechanics in the galaxy. And the only Lombaxi, Lombaxis, I don't know what they fucking call multiple of them because you never really meet multiple of them. The only ones he ever meets are the one from Going Commando, which we never learn a name because she dies, and Crack in Time, which I can't remember his name, but he was evil for like 90% of the game. He was causing the like crack in time, and then Nefarious made it worse, but then he was trying to fix it because Nefarious made it worse or some bullshit like that. Basically, this man thought he was doing something good, but he wasn't. He fucked up a lot of things, but he was the last Lombax, or he thought was the last Lombax, until Ratchet came and beat him. And then he gave Ratchet his Omni Wrench, which is what they call the Ratchet's tool in this game, the Omni Wrench. He got the dual-sided Omni Wrench for one of the missions, and then it broke during the last mission, so through the rest of the game you carried around his Omni Wrench that was broken in half. And it was pretty cool to prove that you'd beaten the game type shit. Yeah, he's only met 2 Lombax before this game, and he doesn't even reference to them. That's the fucked up part. Like, this entire game, he's like, another Lombax? Like, dude, you literally met 2. But supposedly the lore behind Lombax, because they're putting more into it in this game, because they didn't want to do it in any of the other games for some unknown reason, is the Lombax knew they were getting threatened for extinction somehow. So they decided that they would actually collect as many Lombax as they could, which was basically all of them besides like the 4 I've said, and basically lock them away in a dimension. And in this game, one of the planets you go to, there's like these 12 things that you have to collect through like doing side tasks on the planet, which I did because the first one I collected and he was like, hey, I'm mapping the new dimensions, blah, blah, blah. I was like, dude, this is a fucking Lombax speaking, I'm going to learn everything I can. Turns out, this man was tasked to map every dimension in the galaxy so that the Lombax race could decide which was the best place to hide. They found it, and he left a farewell message as the last one, and it's so depressing. He's like, actually, I'll just play it. And you can listen to it if you want. Let me know when you're ready. You're right. They call them lorbs because they're Lombax orbs, but it's literally just, it's a mixture of the word lore and orb and Lombax all in the same thing. It's kind of weird. But basically, they're these little things that this dude used to record as he was going through dimensions. And it's funny because the first 5 of them are like little Easter eggs. They narrate the different games that Insomniac has made. Jak and Daxter, Uncharted, what's that called? With Sackboy, I can't remember the name. Little Big Planet, and Intelligent Cube from back in like 2009 or something like that. And literally this dude is like, oh yeah, I'm on this dimension, blank, 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 and there's this dude who turns around every couple seconds, which he's narrating Jak and Daxter. Because in Jak and Daxter, if you stand still, your character will just look around every once in a while. But Daxter on your back will literally live commentary the entire game. Every time you do anything, he just talks. And they purposely were saying, the game's not much different than ours, Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter. They're literally, like, I think the whole point of making them like that was because Ratchet and Clank sold, or no, Jak and Daxter came out first. Jak and Daxter sold so well that they made Ratchet and Clank. I've played all the Jak and Daxter games. If they ever make a new one, I will buy that shit instantly. Those games are amazing. They basically started Ratchet and Clank, because literally when you get a precursor orb in Jak and Daxter, it does the same animation as when you get a silver or a gold bolt in Ratchet and Clank. Throughout the games, they've changed it. I think it was a gold bolt originally, then it was a silver bolt, and then it was a platinum bolt, and now it's back to a gold bolt. Alright, are you watching? Is that you who's watching, or is that a random? Hello. I'm literally just streaming this for a friend. You don't have to stay and watch. I'm like 80% way through the game already. There's no real point in watching if you're watching for, like, playthrough, because I kind of too far for that. You're watching though, right? Like, can I play this lore? Can you hear it?
This is my final recording.
Okay, make it so you can hear it real quick, so you can hear this depressing ass recording. That dude left. Which is fair. Yeah. No, I mean, I told him if he's trying to watch for, like, playthrough, just leave. Because I ain't doing that. And I'm pretty sure the dude, I don't have any actual subscribers who, like, dude, they put Rift Apart as the actual, like, in gaming. Because whenever you do YouTube live streams, they always put you in a tag. And if you're in gaming and you don't pick a tag, it usually picks a random one. And if you're on PC, it usually is Dota 2 that it says you're playing. But it actually says Rift Apart, which is pretty sick. 2 people are watching me again, what the fuck? Oh, am I watching me? Is that what it counts? I don't think that counts. I don't know. Are you watching though? Can you actually hear?
This is my final recording. If you're listening to this, that means you didn't make it to the new dimensions with us. And I'm so sorry. We're trying hard to get everyone down, but our race is scattered across so many dimensions. This is not farewell. I left a copy of my dimensional map in the archives, and I marked down where we're all going. I wish I could have left you a Dimensionator too, but hey, I'm only one Lombax. I hope you find your way back to us, and if you do, please look me up. The name's Mags, and I'd love to hear your story.
That shit is so fucking depressing, because, like, that's the 5th Lombax in all of history that you get to learn about. And this is the most lore they've put into a single fucking Lombax. This man has gone through every dimension in all of history in this game and mapped all of them so that his entire race could find a suitable home. And his farewell message is basically apologizing because he knows that not all the... Because the only people that can access these lorbs are Lombax. The only way you can get this orb is if you are a Lombax, because the machines or whatever that hold them, the artifacts, they're locked and they sense Lombax shit to open. He's basically apologizing for not being able to take you with. And he doesn't personally know any of the people. But it's pretty fucked because we learn who Ratchet's father is. His name's Caden. And this Lombax, Mags, talks about Caden throughout all of them. And how, like, worried and rushing he is for Mags to finish the dimensions. But until, I think it's entry 10. Hold on, no, it's not. No. Yeah, entry 6. Caden asked him to go faster. He asked why, but he sounded stressed, so he let it go. I think it's 9 when he... No, it's 10.
I'm done, baby. I mapped every single dimension in existence. Woo! Oh, I can't wait to see Caden's face.
Oh no, it's 11. I found out why Caden's been so stressed lately. Something's bad's going on. Bad enough that we need to hide as many Lombaxes as... Oh, Lombaxes. That's the correct way to say it. I had to restart the thing because I stopped it so I could explain that. That's the correct way to say Lombaxes. And I guess all of the mapping work was help find the perfect dimension for us to hide in, so... Yeah.
Hope I didn't screw anything
Hope
up.
I didn't screw anything up. And then that was his 11th. The 12th one. Yeah, the 12th one was the apology. And it's pretty depressing because, like, when you get to the archive as Ratchet and you interact with it, he doesn't even look for the dimensional map. Like, they call her Kit. Because obviously Clank is on the back of Rivet right now, so Clank is not on Ratchet's back, so Ratchet needs a robot on his back. So at that planet he finds Kit, which is KT5672 or some shit like that. But like throughout the entire time he's trying to figure out a nickname that she likes, and she doesn't like any nickname because she just wants to be a robot. Her whole reason for existence is to destroy, and she doesn't like that, so blah 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 blah. You know what? I just realized I'm probably flying on this planet because there's a lot of open area, and it doesn't really make sense for there to be just strange gaps off the edge of the map where there's like this blue shit. I should actually play this map instead of just walking around looking at it. Hell yeah! They added the weapons. I think those might be the last weapons. That one's just begging for an upgrade. Actually, hold up. Yeah, there it is. Aha! A spybot! Spybots hold Rhino blueprints in this game, but before they were just called infobots, and all they did was give you a new location in the galaxy. You'd find an infobot on a planet, and it would basically tell you where to go next. Because all it was really just the bad guy recording some propaganda so he could send out to people. You find it, and then you go to that planet. It turns out you're too late, though, anyway, because 80% of the time that infobot is like 3 years old. So you're just going to old shit. Just to lead to the final map where you actually fight the boss. This one they were like, infobots seems kind of old. Let's call them spybots. Because, you know, it's a separate dimension type shit. And their whole purpose is to espionage. They just hide shit from the government. An invisible wall there. I don't like that. That's the first time I've ever seen an invisible wall in this game. Most of the time they just let you fall off the map. That makes me think that there's something over there actually then, if there's an invisible wall that it makes it so that I can't get to that yet. No, it just looks like there's nothing there. Okay. Maybe they just don't want you to senselessly fall off the map and wait. Because when you fall off, in the old Ratchet and Clank games, it was a whole loading screen. But in this one, it's literally just you fall through a rift in the sky. Like, when you die, all it does was it goes back to, like, the most recent snap location, and a rift opens in the sky and you fall out. So, they tried to cut back on all loading screens in this game, and in fact, I don't think there is a single one. Anytime that there's a loading screen, it's usually just a cutscene. And that's just most of the time going through the map for the first time. Each map in itself is pretty loaded in already. And if you're playing this game on a PS5, well, it only is on PS5, but pretty sure this is going to be able to run just fine on a PS5, especially since it's only 35 gigabytes with all of this graphics. I actually turned them off for every other game, and I had to go back in and turn it back on for this game just because I love it. It helps so much because the guns have two settings. There's the half full R2, and then there's the full R2. And if you half pull it, then you do like certain weapons are like single shot or charges the shot or shit like that. And the full pull is to actually shoot the shot, or if it's like the shotgun that I'm using right now, which I just wasted all the ammo. It's short range. Okay, this is my first time using this gun. This is kind of fucking weird. This one doesn't even have a half shot. It's just half shot is aiming, but you can also aim. So I don't understand what they're doing that. So you don't have to touch L2 ever. Like they basically deleted the use of L2 in this game, which kind of makes me upset. Okay, this has definitely got to be something up here. Nope, it's another invisible wall. Fuck you guys. Just want to explore everything. How hard is it? When I go to maps for the first time, I usually don't even try to go for the objective. Like, they actually added a way to look for the objective in this game, which makes it a lot easier to go that way then. In the other games, you'd accidentally wander into the objective like half the time. So I like that they didn't keep it that way. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of shit to do in this map, though, except for the objective. It might just be because it's my first time in the map. They like do a lot of cutscenes throughout your first time. Maybe I should just run through the whole map real quick, get all the cutscenes out of the way, and then try to do some shit.
Watch out!
Broken rail? They just took it apart. The fuck you mean, bro?
The smelting pit is a curious place for a hurl shot to be.
I guess it has something to do with them all getting hurt recently. Something about fractured spines?
Oh, dear.
There's a rift!
Damn it, I should have took that risk.
Coming!
Here comes the jump!
Oh, dear.
I fucking love this game, dude. I swear.
Just hang on! It goes straight to the smelting pit!
I am afraid we may end up in the smelting pit.
Peace of cake!
Oh, pirates. Oh shit.
Look here, mateys, this looks useful. In fact, I've a notion that it be crucial.
What? Oh, you're getting ass whooped? That's good. You are pretty shit.
Guess mate really loves seeing you get your butt kicked, Pierre.
You, pirate mateys, attack!
Oh, dear. The pirates are ready for square. Perhaps it would be worth using the high ground here.
The high ground. Or, hear me out, I could use my drill hound. I have this weapon that turns people into plants. I also have one that's called the Megatron Collider, and it's literally a fucking laser beam. It just shoots a beam that has an infinite range. And its damage is pretty good. I'm trying to max it out. I'm halfway to getting it done.
Brokenness is a mystery to me. I will enjoy that sense, however.
So they're introducing pirates now as like an actual thing in the game. Pretty annoying. Because the only time you, like, they introduced pirates for the first time in Quest for Booty. That was the whole thing.
Let's get that
Quest for
girl
Booty was
shut
like a pirate side story, and it was pretty fucking good. But it was a side story. And in fact, I wonder, actually, hold on. Oh, I can't pull up. Can I? Okay, there it goes. Trying to see how many Ratchet and Clank games they have on PS4/5, because oh god, the graphics for that looks shit. Okay, I forgot that it's called Future. Quest for Booty. There was like a whole Future arc. Future Tools of Destruction, Future Quest for Booty, Future Crack in Time. And I'm pretty sure they all take place before Rift Apart, but they're supposed to take place like in the future, obviously, from the other games. Like, not near future, but far future. And it gets pretty cool, especially Quest for Booty, because it was a lot more in the puzzle solving and side games. And Quest for Booty is included with PlayStation Now. Ah, dude. Holy shit. I didn't even realize all of the Ratchet and Clanks are on PlayStation Now. The Ratchet and Clank collection, which is Ratchet and Clank, Going Commando, and Up Your Arsenal. The fuck did you just say? Was that even English? I got my head taken off, man. Damn, dude, Into the Nexus was made in 2013. That was their last game. Into the Nexus was the last game they ever made before Rift Apart. 2013. Holy shit, dude. That's 8 fucking years. It took them 8 years to make a game. And I swear they spent that time well. Oh, no, I forgot. They made Ratchet and Clank. Like the 2018 Ratchet and Clank. Which was literally just a soft reboot of the original Ratchet and Clank. But it was also in the separate timeline, I guess. Honestly, I don't fucking know. Because, like, it had a whole new speed. I'm dumb as shit. The new Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart definitely goes after Ratchet and Clank. So Ratchet and Clank was the soft reboot, and Rift Apart is the next part to it. That would make more sense why they haven't talked about any Lombax anymore. They basically phased them out to him being the only... Man, that's kind of shitty. You get rid of all the old Lombax. I'm deleting it now. So you are getting 2042? You see who the face is for 2042? Like the guy who is the cover for 2042? It's I can't remember his name, but he's in Horizon Zero Dawn. He's the dude that, like, you save as a kid, and then when you grow up and you meet him again, he's your friend because you saved him as a kid, or whatever. I don't know his real life name, and I don't know his game name. I think it's like Tebu or some shit like that in Horizon. He's the face for Battlefield 2042, and if there is a story mode, to Battlefield 2042, which there's been story modes to the recent ones, so I'd be pretty upset if they didn't have a Battlefield 2042 story mode. It looks like he's going to be the main character, which is going to be pretty interesting to give a face to your main character, since they've never really, even in COD, you know your main character, but you never really like get to interact with him or any of that shit. In Black Ops 3, you could hear yourself talk, and you got to customize your face because you'd see yourself in cutscenes and shit. But then at the end, no matter what, you became Hendrix, or not Hendrix, the other dude, the bad guy. You've played Black Ops 3 story mode, right? What? You're fucking ass, dude. That had the best storyline. Literally the entire game. Guess, the entire game you're sitting here learning that they've implanted shit into soldiers' brains to make them smarter. But turns out this shit is eating away at people's brains and turning them insane. And the 8 people you have to fight for the bosses for the COD campaign are all of the 8 original people who got shit in them. And they drove it too far, and it literally made them go crazy. But when you kill the last motherfucker, he downloads his entire shit into your brain and takes over your body. And as you're walking out, after you kill him, you're walking out of the thing. They open the door and they're like, ID, name, blah, blah, because they're raiding the whole area, making sure it's clear or whatever. And you're the last survivor in the area. And you don't say your character's name, which I can't remember his name. I think it's Hendrix. No, Hendrix is the guy, he's the side character, but at the same time he's not throughout the whole game. He's basically the main character without being the main character. He's the person you see the most, but you don't play him. I think you play him 2 missions, the 3rd mission and the second to last mission. But he's the dude who basically, is with you the whole time. The main bad guy is the guy you see in the trailer who's yeah, this is what this shit can do, and here's my team, and Diaz is the motherfucker who's Spanish, and that motherfucker's boss fight was so shit. Yeah, no, you get fucking hacked, and your brain gets taken over by some dude at the end of it. That started, good quality campaigns with some new shit, because Black Ops 2's campaign was not that good. Black Ops 3 brought it back for sure. And then Black Ops 4 said, who needs a campaign? That pissed me off, though. That was the only reason I really bought CODs, besides zombies, of course. So to delete one of the reasons I played it kind of pissed me off. And Jason Blundell even said, the guy who quit when Black Ops 4 came out, he quit after the first 2 maps were released because they wouldn't let him do what he wanted with the story. So he quit. He said he literally had a whole campaign written up, but they scrapped it for Battle Royale. And that was what threw him over the edge, really. And he spent all his time on zombies after that, and then they told him he couldn't do that. So he quit. And now he's starting his own company. He just posted recently a meme on Twitter through his account, which he hadn't posted anything on since leaving Treyarch. That it was the whole Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's basically shunning whatever, and then he's pointing at it in the next frame, and he's smiling or whatever. It was that one, but it showed the first one was Treyarch, and the second one was his new logo. I don't even know what his team is, what his group is, but supposedly they're going to be working on a new zombie game, which is a actual zombie game, not COD. A whole zombie standalone. But it's going to be weird to see how that implements, because COD has control over zombies. Zombies is a whole COD trademark, basically. You know? Oh, no, I'm fucking retarded, dude. Battlefield 2042 is, Andrew Garfield. I don't know how I didn't notice that until literally just now. Andrew Garfield. Amazing Spider-Man. He's the face of Battlefield 2042. He just looks like Tennu. Imagine going from Spider-Man to a murderer. Yikers! There is no third one. There's only 1 and 2. The first Spider-Man. Yeah, the first Spider-Man had 3, and this Spider-Man has 3. Because they're making the third one right now. Did you hear about that whole thing? Where they basically canceled Spider-Man after Far From Home, and then Tom basically posted all over Twitter that he didn't want to not be Spider-Man anymore, and he was begging them to make a third one, because what was going on was Marvel and the people who actually own Spider-Man, because Spider-Man isn't owned through Marvel, it's a side company that owns Spider-Man that Marvel just bought out recently, which is why Spider-Man is still in the works of being made now. Basically, the people who own Spider-Man were wanting more money for the Spider-Man movies, and Marvel wasn't going to give them the money. So instead they just bought them. I think it's fucking hilarious, though. Yeah. Oh? There's going to be a new Dungeons & Dragons game called Dark Allegiance? Interesting. There's no...
Welcome to Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance. A non-stop, heart-pounding...
So the thing is with D&D, right, is originally it was just a paper and pen game. And a lot of D&D, like the lore behind D&D and basically where it came from, was the Wizards of the West, the Wizards of the Coast, West Coast, the publishers who made D&D. They got a lot of their shit from Lord of the Rings. And then they kind of went on their own end and started making lore and became their own group or whatever. It was really just for nerds at the beginning, because it was just a paper and pen game. You had to know what you were doing to understand it. And then, it got super big, where people started building whole-ass fucking tables for D&D and shit. And then more rich people got into D&D, and then eventually a lot of people got into D&D. So they then made a Dungeons & Dragons, video game, but it was like Elder Scrolls Online, basically. It was shit. But a lot of people say it's a really good game because it's an MMO. So to be able to play a game like Dungeons & Dragons with your friends without having to sit down for 3 hours with them just to play a session. Because literally, to play a Dungeons & Dragons session, not a full game, a session correctly, you need at least an hour and a half of just sitting down with a bunch of people and just there. Because you got to roll dice every single time you do anything. For initiative, any of that shit. Unless the DM, Dungeon Master, doesn't give a shit most of the time. A lot of the stories and shit are homebrew, meaning that the Dungeon Master created it. It's not actual Dungeons & Dragons content, which you can get actually... there's a whole fucking map of an entire continent, basically, of just different locations, and each location has a map of the cities and shit in it. And that's the actual Dungeons & Dragons shit, and you can pay, I think it's $600 to get all that shit. Every single thing you'll ever need for Dungeons & Dragons. And you can buy all the expansions, too, because there's, there's 4 expansions. Basically, they brought in a bunch of shit. One of them brought in vampires, another one brought in aliens, shit like that. There's been aliens in Dungeons & Dragons since the very beginning. They were called Mind Flayers, and they're from Lovecraftian lore. They're like octopus people that possess your brain and force you to be slaves for them. Back to what I was saying, because I got really sidetracked there. Everyone is playing D&D now because it's easy to play, and it's easy to get to. But nobody plays it correctly anymore because there's no need for it with all these like MMOs and other shits that are coming out. Baldur's Gate is a Dungeons and Dragons game without it being a Dungeons. I don't know if they're actually owned by. Actually, I'll look it up real quick. I don't think they're owned by Wizards of the West or Wizards of the Coast. I don't even know how to spell Baldur's Gate now that I think about it. Oh yeah, there it is. Let's see who it's published by. Yeah, no, published by someone completely different. It was another kind of Dungeons and Dragons game, but it was more in the sense of being like World of Warcraft and shit, where it's an MMO. Because Neverwinter is the name of the MMO for Dungeons and Dragons. Holy shit, dude. Baldur's Gate. Dark Alliance. And the new Dungeons and Dragons game is also called Dark Alliance. And they both, like, Dark Alliance, Baldur's Gate or whatever, just got remastered and released May 21st. And now Dark Alliance Dungeons and Dragons is coming out. I think they're trying to say that they're basically the same game without being, not the same game, but same shit. Baldur's Gate is an actual location in Dungeons and Dragons. It's supposedly like the main city, besides Neverwinter, because Neverwinter is now the main capital. Before that, it was Baldur's Gate. I think Steven says something like that. Me and Steven were trying to do an actual Dungeons and Dragons session, like sit down and do the shit. Because I have never actually done an actual session and completed one. I've been through 3 different sessions, and they've all fallen apart because the Dungeon Master either doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, or just gives up halfway through the 3rd session. That second one was very specific because it actually happened. Our Dungeon Master was like, alright, let's play it. And then all 6 of us got together for the first 2 sessions, and then the 3rd session, all 6 of us were sitting there, and he was like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. And then just, like, stopped. I'm going to end my broadcast because I've just been broadcasting a blue screen for the past 20